For probably the last 6 or 7 years, our firm has had a contract with the Office of Public Defense Services where we are asked to get involved for persons that are in guardianships, conservatorship situations, and on some occasions, the court will ask that a guardian ad litem be appointed, and that's sort of somebody that's there to look out for the best interests of somebody that is under a guardianship, under a conservatorship, and doesn't have the ability to do that for themselves. And so our office got appointed by the court with respect to Richard Baumann a few years back. And how we got involved was I wanted to go out and see Richard Baumann and lay eyes on him and see how he was living and his living situation and make sure that he had his needs being met and those sorts of things. And I couldn't get a hold of Richard, and I couldn't get a hold of Richard, and I couldn't get a hold of Richard. And finally, when I got a hold of his roommate, she said, Richard is not home. Richard's in the hospital. Richard had what's called a necrotizing fasciitis. There was an injury. He fell in August, well before he went to the hospital. He was not feeling well. His roommate contacted the public fiduciary's office to ask for some help with that. They really didn't do anything other than give her information about an insurance card. Truly not kind of care for Richard. And as a result of that, he went to a chiropractor, did a couple of other things, but never at the hands of the Maricopa County Public Fiduciary, who was his guardian and his conservator. And eventually, he couldn't get out of the chair in his home, and that roommate took him to the emergency room where the doctor said that he had a necrotizing fasciitis, dead skin or dead tissue. And as a result of that, because it was untreated for so long, based upon his earlier injury in August, the doctor's like, yep, whoop, stop. You got really serious things going on here. And then they had to transfer him to Valleywise, where they ended up having to take off his leg at the hip. And because that infection had come all the way to his intestinal area, they also had to take out part of his intestine, and he now has a colostomy bag. By the nature of being under a guardianship, Richard Baumann, or anybody who's under a guardianship, is a vulnerable adult as defined by Arizona law. That's a special and a protected class. It is not beyond a stretch that anybody could be subjected to having the Maricopa County Public Fiduciary as their guardian. And if they can't meet that standard, those basic things that are statutory, or that the order the court makes you sign when you become a guardian, and they're not doing it on time after time after time, there's a serious problem that the County Board of Supervisors needs to jump in on. They need to investigate it. They need to have somebody come and make sure that those things are getting done properly. When you look at Richard Baumann, whose fate could have nearly been death and is just horrific at best, you're just scratching the surface. I bet if you were able to dig into the files of the Maricopa County Public Fiduciary's office, it's a fundamental problem. If they're failing on calling 911 and going out to visit people, what else are they failing at? And what are the County Board of Supervisors going to do about that?